Unsung Murder Ballads is a true crime podcast, and as such, we will be discussing topics that are disturbing, graphic, and often violent in nature. So this is not for children under the age of 13.
But you know this because you did start playing this episode. So here are some things you might not know about us.
We are going to be critical of mistakes made by both criminals and law enforcement.
We're going to express our views on things that you might not always agree with.
We will occasionally go on an off-topic tangent.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So if you're easily triggered, this might not be the podcast for you.
However, if this is your cup of tea, then raise your pinky finger while you sip and join us for this week's horrific case, you sick bastards.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 183. I am Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
All right. So last week we did part one of what's going to be 3 parts of our suspicious deaths surrounding Jeffrey Epstein case.
And I'm traumatized and I'm pissed off. And we're just going to get more traumatized and pissed off.
I know it's not going to get any better. And that's the worst part, you know.
I'm mentally prepared for that. I'm not expecting it to get any better.
There's obviously a few more that are pretty bad, but like I think Virginia Giuffre's story is the worst of them. You know? So we've already covered that one, and we will mention her again because as she was an ongoing victim of and recruiter for Epstein, she will keep showing up here and there, which is such a shitty situation.
Very awful.
I mean, I don't know what it's like to be in the situation they were in, but I mean, something was good enough for her to be an active recruiter,
or she was in enough danger,
or something. Yeah, it's
that
weird.
She felt that's what she had to do.
It's weird, and it's hard to wrap my head around as someone who, I don't know. I speak my mind way too easily, I think. So
right, but it's one of those things where, maybe she was trying to justify to herself that she could survive it. Justify to herself, like, why she couldn't get herself out. I don't know. Not that any of it's okay, and I wouldn't excuse any of it, but...
Right. And then that's just it. I don't excuse any of her behavior, but I can understand from the point of view of someone being victimized.
Yeah. Cult victims often end up recruiting for the cult.
Very, very true. So,
and this is somewhat of a cult, I would say.
I agree. So once again, we're diving back into some people. We're going to just kind of keep going person to person, telling their life story, what happened, how they passed, and why it's suspicious around everything that's been going on. And some of them, I know, I'm going to say this now because I know I can hear it when we get there. Some of them, the actual death itself is certainly not directly linked, but it's weird in totality. Okay. So with that said, the next person we're going to be talking about is Lee Skye Patrick. So Lee Skye Patrick was born in 1988 in Fort Worth, Florida, into a working class family where she grew up alongside her identical twin sister, Selby Patrick, which is pretty cool. I've always wished I had a twin. That'd be cool.
2 of you? No, thank you.
Fair. As a teenager, she attended Wellington Christian School, from which she graduated, but she was known amongst her friends and family as sort of a wild child who began drinking alcohol at an underage, often making impulsive decisions influenced by peer pressure and adolescent rebellion. Which
normal teenager.
I was going to say, who doesn't? It depends on how far we're taking it. I mean, I was pretty extreme, and luckily I wasn't influenced by alcohol. So
thank goodness for that.
Right. Her family described Lee as having had a close-knit sibling bond with her twin, Selby, who later became a bank supervisor and would play a pivotal role in caring for Lee's child after her death.
Aww.
Lee's association with Epstein began in 2003 when she was just 16 years old, during a period of youthful curiosity, we'll say. That year in 2003, while attending a party at a friend's house in Palm Beach, which is the city that Epstein lived in, Another acquaintance of hers suggested that they go over to what was described as an exclusive house party.
Oh.
However, Lee found herself alone in Epstein's mansion, and her friend just abruptly left.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. And I
Some kind of fucking friend.
Well, I understand that Virginia Giuffre was not the only person that he was using to recruit other young girls.
Right. It could have been, it could have been one of her friends being used.
Yeah, definitely. So it's fucked up. Now, Epstein comes out wearing only a towel.
Gross.
And along with him is a woman who is very obviously Ghislaine Maxwell, who introduces herself to the girls, or tells the girls that they meet that her name is Jillian. And basically, they start recruiting Lee in and lure her in, and other friends of hers as well, with the promise of this glamorous life that they could have, as well as modeling opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Which, of course, for any teenage girl walking around a mansion, that has to be quite the pitch.
Even as a, grown woman. I mean, not like a grown woman like me at 30 years old, but like as a younger woman, I'm walking me around a mansion, I'm like, ooh, wow, this is kind of cool. Like, what do you want me to do to live here? Oh, just model? No problem.
Except that the guy's walking around in a towel.
Yeah, I mean that part, but
yeah,
prefrontal cortex development, then yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, during that first visit, Epstein offered Lee $300 to give him a massage and to remove her shirt while doing so. But the situation escalated because he grew aggressive and demanded that she remove her bra. Now, when she refused, according to her, Epstein even tried to rip it off of her himself, which prompted Lee to flee in absolute terror.
Mm-hmm.
However, despite how traumatic that first encounter with him was, Lee was tempted by money and for the potential future opportunities, and she returned to Epstein's mansion multiple times over the following year, where she endured repeated assaults by Epstein.
Ugh.
Now, Lee would end up visiting the Palm Beach residence many times, and each instance deepened the psychological scars that her family would later link directly to the onset of her addictions.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is starting to be one of those things where we're hearing the same story.
That's what I mean. So even though their deaths might not be a direct link, it's very much the causality. It may not be murder, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. So years later, Lee and a friend of hers received $50,000 each from Epstein. And this is a...
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. And this sort of provided like a relief, which fueled Lee's downward spiral, as it enabled her to access more of her vices. So Lee did escape from Epstein and Maxwell, and she attempted to start a new life. By her early 20s, away from them, she became a mother to a son that she gave birth to named Jaden in 2012. And she adored him despite her own personal struggles. In 2015, at the age of 27, she got engaged to Jaden's father and expressed optimism about her future, having recently completed rehab and was applying for jobs in the insurance market, while at the same time celebrating 3 years of sobriety.
That's awesome. 3 years is incredible.
Yeah, that's no easy feat. I mean, I can't even give up potato chips for 3 months, let alone 3 years. And that's just a potato chip.
For real.
However, Lee's life continued to be marred by legal troubles stemming from her battles with her addictions, and she was arrested 12 times between 2004 and 2017 for offenses of possession, domestic battery, resisting arrest, and battery on an officer.
Oof.
Now, most of the time, these incidents revolved around her desperate attempts to see her son Jaden, who was eventually taken away from her and kept with his father because of her behavior.
Oh, that's sad.
And at one point, Jaden was placed in the care of her sister Selby's custody due to her addictions. And then Lee was found dead on May 30th, 2017, when the cleaning staff at the Treetops Motel in West Palm Beach, Florida, had to force their way into her room after receiving no response from the occupant.
Ugh.
In that dark hotel room, the hotel staff found Lee's nude body lying still, partially covered by a sheet on the bed.
No.
Just shy of her 30th birthday by a week, she was found dead. And the authorities were called, and obviously they do their examinations, and they noted that her body was covered in bruises, abrasions, open wounds, and sores at the time of her death.
Huh.
Suggesting, obviously, physical distress, beatings, conflicts, whatever it may have been, leading to her death.
Right.
Now, the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office investigation revealed that a man who had rented the room for her had picked Lee up earlier that evening, and he said that she appeared beaten and under the influence of something when he brought her to that motel. And that he said he witnessed her use dangerous drugs.
And I guess a autopsy report would show if they were fresh bruises or old bruises.
Well, they're very vague about it. The anonymous individual, the guy, claimed that he later on that night had flushed some of her remaining drugs in a pipe down the toilet.
Pipe down the toilet?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I'm assuming he breaks it, you know.
I guess. Sure.
But he left her there, assuming that she would sober up and recover. And then, of course, she's found unresponsive the next day.
Oh.
They did the autopsy, and they came back with a toxicology analysis that determined her cause of death was an accidental overdose, attributing it broadly to the ongoing opiate crisis at the time.
Ugh.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Now, this tragic end came nearly 2 weeks after her most recent relapse from jail, where she had served a 17-day sentence for trespassing, trying to see her son.
Oh, it's just so sad. You can just imagine, like, she's no longer, like, kind of on this mortal plane with the rest of us, and it's just living in misery where she just wants to see her son, but she's probably really not a safe person for her son to be around.
And if her own twin sister isn't allowing her to, there's your answer.
Yeah. Ugh.
Now, her sister Selby did say, she has repeatedly asserted that her sister's downward spiral began immediately after Epstein, stating, quote, "My sister suffered tremendously, and it started with Epstein. Something happened in her when she met him that got her out of control," unquote.
Oh.
So again, it's not a murder, but it might as well have been.
Right.
And
trauma directly is a huge predictor for addiction.
Right. And for all we know, because 2017, we're talking about, that's around, the time he was arrested. So for all we know, someone could have gone in there and fed her those drugs. We don't know.
Right.
I mean, that's a bit more extreme, I think, but it's not.
Or it could have been that seeing him in the news
triggered her again.
Re-traumatized her. Yeah, brought it all back.
Entirely
until
possible.
She was seeking solace.
Yep. It's fucking crazy. So the next death we're going to talk about is Alfredo Rodriguez. Now, Alfredo Rodriguez was born in Bolivia and immigrated to the U.S., where he built a successful career as a house manager for affluent clients in South Florida. Rodriguez was described by his family as an honest, caring individual who served as a moral anchor for those around him, often prioritizing their well-being over his own. So like a father. Prior to his involvement with Epstein, Alfredo managed estates for other wealthy individuals, honing his skills in discretion and efficiency that made him a trusted employee in certain elite circles. His professional reputation was one of reliability, and he had no prior criminal record or indications of personal turmoil until the events surrounding Epstein. While he worked for Epstein, Alfredo worked and lived at Epstein's Palm Beach estate. Members emphasized that Alfredo's life had been exemplary up until that point, family members, sorry, marked by his dedication to his loved ones and his strong work ethic. But something changed fairly quickly once he started living and working in Epstein's house.
Ooh.
It's fucking weird. But, I mean, we can imagine what he's seeing.
Yeah, that'll fuck you right up.
And not only that, for all we know, he was fed a supply of drugs as well.
100%.
So working this job, Alfredo's duties included cleaning Epstein's bedroom after massages.
Oh, yep. Oh, it's fucked.
And he was routinely disposing of and cleaning up items that were left behind. And he would presumably observe teenagers lounging around the pool and walking around the house.
Yeah, there's no way he doesn't know what the fuck's going on there.
Exactly. He witnessed Epstein viewing images of minors on his home computers and even engaging in contact with them, details he would later document in a personal journal, which he himself called, the Holy Grail.
Huh. It's a weird thing to call it.
Well, clearly the people he's told about this journal that he's calling the Holy Grail, he clearly already has his own blackmail in the back of his mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's for certain. So this journal chronicled the full scope of Epstein's exploitations and included lists of victims and high-profile contacts such as Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Mick Jagger, Barbara Walters, Henry Kissinger, and even members of the Kennedy family.
Ugh.
The only one on that list that surprises me is Barbara Walters.
I don't even know who that is.
She was a famous news reporter back in the day. Like, nationally famous.
Yeah, like the name rings a bell, but I'm like, I couldn't tell you who that is. Yeah.
So Alfredo also maintained a copy of Epstein's infamous Black Book, which contained phone numbers of dozens of young women allegedly assaulted by him and by Epstein and his associates.
Ooh.
In January of 2007, during the FBI's grand jury investigation into Epstein, Alfredo was interviewed but failed to disclose the existence of this material despite being asked to produce any relevant evidence.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, I think he's thinking no one's going to really go down, and he's looking at his like golden egg over here.
Right, he's just like waiting for the right time or something, or he's hoping to get more through blackmail than he could through the legal
right
prosecutions. Yeah.
And he's still got a paycheck to worry about.
Yeah.
So by late July and August of 2009, fearing for his safety, Alfredo contacted an attorney representing Epstein's victims and attempted to sell the copy of Epstein's Black Book and his journal for $50,000.
It's kind of fucked up to sell it.
Right? It's so weird. But, I mean, again, he's definitely spiraled out of the whole I'm a good father thing, and now he wants the money. He's probably already jacked it up in his head that he was going to make this money at some point anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's desperate to get it because he thinks Epstein's going down for good this time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's fucked up.
Getting his last paycheck before the source is gone.
Exactly.
Kind of fucked, yeah. It's
and
really
of course,
fucked.
He viewed those journals, the journal and the Black Book, as like an insurance policy against Epstein's threats, which according to him, Epstein told him that he can make him disappear.
And, you know, he was telling the truth. He can.
Well, exactly, because Alfredo's widow later revealed that he knew intimate details about figures like former Prince Andrew and people like that.
Mm-hmm.
So Alfredo served approximately 13 months of an 18-month sentence in federal prison for obstruction of justice in not turning his stuff over to Epstein.
That doesn't seem like enough.
To not turn over a journal over a year? I don't know. Maybe not.
I guess it's like the crime out of context, like, okay, whatever. But in context of, like, he's preventing sexual assault, rape victims from getting justice.
Yeah. Well, but Epstein does get prison at this point in time.
Fair.
So, barely, but he gets something. So they probably thought they had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, months after his release, Alfredo Rodriguez died on December 28th, 2014, after succumbing to quick-acting mesothelioma at his home in Miami. And this is after just a 6-month battle with aggressive cancer.
Wait, do you mean mesothelioma?
Maybe I just spelled it wrong. Sorry.
It's either melanoma or mesothelioma.
No, it's the mesothelioma. Yeah, that one.
Right.
I'm glad you're here. I'm glad
the
you're
one
here.
where they had all the they used to have all the commercials about it, like, do you were a loved one of mesothelioma?
Yeah, that's probably
like
it.
asbestos.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I may have just in my quick typing not like I might have cut out a couple letters.
Oh, it's okay. You just hit on my medical nerd.
No, that's okay. Again, I'm glad you're here. I may look like an idiot, but at least you help.
Together we have a brain cell.
This is the first of many people who are going to die of cancer in a weird way.
Oh.
That's what I mean. Sometimes it's not someone pulled a trigger, but it's weird that so many people on this list will die of cancer. Unfortunately, no autopsy details beyond the cancer diagnosis were ever publicly released, and their death certificate listed his death as natural causes with no further elaboration.
I guess when someone dies of cancer, you're not usually, like, investigating it.
Exactly. And obviously, this holy grail of evidence has never surfaced.
Fuck.
Yeah. So, again, maybe he died of cancer. I mean, he died of cancer, but it's still
someone do something to induce that.
Yeah, it's all fucked up. And it'd be weird if someone could give you cancer.
Oh, there's lots of things that can give you cancer very easily.
I guess, but while you're serving in prison, he wasn't that long out of prison before he died of aggressive cancer.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. Just saying.
Yeah.
And I couldn't not include it. Especially based on the shit this guy witnessed and did nothing about.
Yeah.
So, but you'll see as we go.
Could just be karma.
Maybe. I mean, hopefully it was miserable for him then. All right, so our next death is Stephen Hoffenberg. Stephen Hoffenberg was born on January 12th, 1945 in Brooklyn, New York to a Jewish family. In 1971, he pled guilty to attempted second-degree larceny after trying to steal a diamond in New York.
What a classic heist.
I think it's kind of awesome, right?
Oh, I'm going to try to steal a diamond.
In the early 1970s, Hoffenberg founded Towers Financial Corporation as a legitimate debt collection agency, initially buying debts owned to hospitals, banks, and phone companies, where he served as this company's CEO, chairman, and president. So he thinks he's going to make money getting people to pay him the debts that other people can't get them to pay.
Well, debt collection is a business. Someone must be making money doing it.
Right, and usually it's lawyers and their firms, but that's beyond the point.
Yeah.
Because they know how to take you to court for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that company quickly ballooned into one of the largest Ponzi schemes in U.S. history, defrauding investors of approximately $475 million between 1988 and 1993, which is crazy.
It's impressive sometimes when you really, like, fuck a scammer, but, like, when you create a Ponzi scheme that effective, like, I have to have a little bit of respect. Like, that's impressive.
It is. It's very impressive.
To scam people that hard?
Well, what he was doing was he was taking, like, new funds that came in, and he used that money to pay off early investors so that they were kind of no longer looking at him. They were like that weight. And then he would just use the rest to fuel this extravagant lifestyle he was living.
Yup. That makes sense.
So in February of 93, amid the Ponzi scheme's eventual unraveling, Hoffenberg briefly owned the New York Post. But his tenure only lasted like a month and a half or something.
Even on that shit rag, like, they couldn't keep this guy?
Well,
he was that bad?
It ended in chaos with mass layoffs, a staff walkout, and a ton of missed publication deadlines. So he was trying to run it like his Ponzi scheme, and not run it like a newspaper, basically.
Right. Unfortunately, in this business, there are actual deadlines, and you do have to produce something.
Right, or no one's going to pay you, no one's going to buy your shit, right.
Right. It's not run off of investors. It's like you sell a product.
Well, Towers Financial filed for bankruptcy that same month, and that exposed the Ponzi scheme's full scope of crimes, leading to him having to plead guilty in April of 1995.
Interesting. All right. What were the consequences?
Well, he was sentenced to 20 years in federal prison in 1997 and was eventually released in October of 2013. So he spent 16 years in prison.
Wow. I love to see a scammer going to prison.
Yeah, so he did pay for his crimes. After his release, Stephen sought to make amends with his victims. He married a woman named Maria Santiago and tried to enjoy his life. And this story that I've told you so far has excluded his interaction with Epstein. That part was there to tell you how big of a douchebag he was without telling you what he's done for Epstein.
Ugh.
Because here we go.
Great.
Hoffenberg's association with Jeffrey Epstein began in 1987 when he met the then 34-year-old through a British defense contractor named Douglas Leese, who praised Epstein as a genius at selling securities despite lacking a moral compass.
Well, you don't need a moral compass to do shit like that.
Agreed. Now, Hoffenberg hired Epstein as a paid consultant for Tower Financial from 87 to 93. So during this time that they're making, $400-something million, Epstein is a part of this.
And making money off of it.
He was compensating Epstein $25,000 a month and provided him with a $2 million loan in 1988 that Epstein never bothered to repay.
Why would he?
Hoffenberg and Epstein traveled frequently on his private jet, shared offices on Madison Avenue, and pursued ambitious but failed takeover bids for various companies. And Epstein was earning $1 million in fees during this time.
And doing nothing successfully.
Correct. It's how do you fail up? This is what this is teaching us.
Yeah, it's insane.
Hoffenberg later claimed in court documents and interviews that Epstein himself was the architect of the Ponzi scheme with the Tower Financial Company. Which maybe.
Of course he was. What a fucking scammer. Although he might just be trying to oh, I didn't invent it.
Exactly.
It was the pedophile.
Well, I don't think they know he's a pedophile at this point, but yes.
I think everyone around him knows he's a pedophile, but...
Right, but the courts
probably... But maybe not the courts,
right.
Not the public.
Right. In August of 2018, there was a lawsuit, and former Towers investors alleged that the stolen $475 million had served as seed capital for Epstein's subsequent hedge fund, which they valued over time as being worth $50 billion.
Whoa.
So,
now that's fucking crazy because they should have seized those assets.
Right. And I think they eventually did, but I mean, he's obviously accessing that money over that time.
Right. And exactly. Like if they're seizing that after it's already grown to all that money, then
right. Exactly.
They're taking a fraction.
Now, following Epstein's 2019 arrest, Stephen Hoffenberg publicly labeled Epstein as his uncharged co-conspirator and best friend and said that he and Epstein had a special relationship, even going so far to claim that Epstein was the smartest person he knew. A weird time to be praising someone like that.
Yup.
Now, strangely, Hoffenberg began connecting with Epstein victims after his release from prison.
Oh.
Hoffenberg allegedly revealed that he possessed knowledge of incriminating tapes that Epstein had collected, where Epstein and Maxwell recorded like the elites, these people, like their clients, for blackmail. He claimed he had.
Now, that's a hell of a scam.
Right, and that's where some of the things, like when you're hearing like who's redacted from these files, some people are mentioned simply for blackmail purposes. They're not necessarily traveling to this island.
Right.
So, but Hoffenberg claimed that the FBI had held on to those tapes since 2019 and never released them, and that the FBI had buried them to protect powerful figures, which at this point we're well aware of.
Right, like we all know that. That's what they do.
Right. On August 23rd, 2022, police in Derby, Connecticut responded to a welfare check at Hoffenberg's apartment after a private investigator acting on behalf of a woman identifying herself as an Epstein victim reported that she hadn't been able to reach Hoffenberg for 5 days. What I find interesting, despite the fact that this woman's calling in the welfare check, is that at this point he's trying to work with the victims to fuck over Epstein.
Right, and of course that's why he's going to end up dead.
Well, upon entering the apartment, officers discovered Hoffenberg's body in an advanced state of decomposition on the floor and estimated that he had been dead for approximately 1 week.
Oof.
Yeah. Due to the body's condition, authorities initially could not positively identify him, but eventually confirmed his identity through dental records.
Oh. That's the level of decomposition. That's awful.
So fucked up. The autopsy performed revealed that there was no evidence of trauma, and investigators noted there was no sign of a struggle, no forced entry or foul play, and suggested that Stephen had simply died alone in his modest one-bedroom apartment.
From what, though?
Undetermined. Yeah, they're calling it natural causes, and they claim it's consistent with his poor self-care, including irregular eating and health neglect.
Not a lot of detail. That's really sus.
Super sus. See, this one more so than the others.
Yeah, it's like that's not a real cause of death.
It's so weird. It is so weird. And this is why I couldn't not... I mean, he's on here for an obvious reason, but you can't just not include all these people.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
It's all really suspicious.
Now, this next one, you may recognize the name. You may not. I certainly recognize it because of what happened in the early 2000s, but it's Kenneth Starr.
I do not.
Okay, as we go, you're going to hear why maybe I thought you might have known him. But
okay.
Ken Starr was, it was a name that was everywhere in the early 2000s. And again, I know you were a child then. So.
Who was he, a Backstreet Boy?
No. So Kenneth Winston Starr was born on July 21st, 1946 in Texas to a middle-class family. He had an impressive career in law. He worked for the Supreme Court from 1975 to 1977. He was a counselor to the Attorney General William French Smith. He had lots of connections to obviously high-profile political people. He was appointed the U.S. Solicitor General by George H.W. Bush in 1989 and argued over 25 cases before the Supreme Court defending key administration policies.
Powerful guy.
Very powerful guy. Starr left the government in 1993 and entered a private practice at a place called Kirkland and Ellis, but his career peaked as an independent counsel investigating the Whitewater scandal from 1994, which involved Bill Clinton and the Monica Lewinsky affair.
Oh.
This guy was all over them. He was all over the news. He was the main push. That's why I thought you might have known who he was.
Gotcha. No, I don't have any memory of that trial. I guess that did happen during my life, didn't it? But I was so young.
That's what I meant. You were a kid. I don't remember much about what happened in the late 70s from actual memory. Right?
Yeah, no one was telling me about Monica Lewinsky when I was 5.
Thank God.
If someone had, it would have been you.
And why would I do that?
No, because no one else would tell me anything.
That's true, but you were so young, there was no way.
I was. Yeah, there's no good reason for that.
All right, so it's so funny. So he authored the 1998 Starr Report that led to President Bill Clinton's impeachment.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was tangled up with the Clintons pretty hard.
Pretty baller to have Starr as your last name, the Starr Report.
Right, and that's what I mean. When you hear it, you're like, are we talking about the Daily Star? Are we talking about...
Right, that's kind of iconic, but I'm sure I hate him. I'm just guessing.
Well, he's also deeply entangled with Jeffrey Epstein.
They all are, man.
Well, everyone on this list, certainly.
But yeah, that's true. Well, just so many people are.
So Starr's association with Epstein emerged in 2007 when he was hired to represent Epstein amidst the mounting federal investigation into what he had done to teenage girls in Palm Beach, Florida. As Epstein's defense lawyer, Kenneth Starr orchestrated a scorched earth strategy that was detailed in Julie K. Brown's 2021 book, Perversion of Justice, which involved aggressive tactics against the victims, witnesses, and even the Palm Beach police detective Joe Ricari, who also died of cancer and could have been on this list.
What the fuck?
Really fucking weird. Now, Ken Starr went after Joe Ricari, basically trying to discredit him through like subpoenas and character attacks, as Ricari was there as a witness against Epstein. I could have included Ricari. I probably should have. There wasn't a lot of information, but he definitely was after Epstein. He had information, and he died of cancer. So, really fucking weird.
Mm-hmm.
So Ken Starr also collaborated closely with the U.S. Attorney and Epstein's other lawyers to negotiate that famous non-prosecution agreement where he didn't really spend much time in prison for everything he's done.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Ken Starr is that
What
kind
a
of scumbag.
disgusting fucking person.
Exactly. So in 2019, after Epstein was rearrested, Ken Starr defended his role in interviews with the media, the stuff that he did back in the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah?
He was trying to frame that plea deal as pragmatic resolutions given the evidence they had at the time.
Oh, fuck off.
So, Ken Starr died on September 13th, 2022, after succumbing to complications from an elective surgery in Houston, Texas.
Although he is old.
He is. But his family issued a statement confirming the cause, noting that Starr had undergone the procedure amid a non-disclosed chronic illness. No autopsies were ever mentioned in any reports, and the death certificate attributes his death to surgical aftermath.
Yeah.
Some people are pointing the fingers at the Clintons for orchestrating Ken Starr's death as a revenge against Clinton's impeachment, but I don't think that's the likely side of it.
No, I don't think so.
He either really did die of what he died of, or Ghislaine Maxwell's criminal thing happening, maybe it had to do with that certainly more than the Clintons. Right,
and also, like, that would be a really belated revenge for the Clintons.
Right. It's really fucking weird.
Yeah. Like, I feel like they just kind of have to, Bill Clinton has to accept that he was impeached for a reason.
I mean, the evidence against him, the stupid shit he was doing and saying revolving around Monica Lewinsky was just awful. He deserved everything he got. And this
exactly. It wasn't like I'm sure like this guy was scathing and dug deep and maybe, I don't know, did some shit. But he deserved to be impeached.
Agreed.
He did the thing.
Agreed. And and even as a liberal Democrat, I say if Clinton did anything to children, he deserves to be fucking punished.
Absolutely. I think most people are on that side.
Right.
I don't care who the fuck you are. If you hurt children, if you are a rapist, get fucking punished.
100%
don't
agree.
Care if you're my hero.
Exactly. 100% agree with you.
And also, like, Bill Clinton, as if I loved him anyway. The fuck?
Well, and I would argue for me, for like you said, even if it was your hero, like if I had to pick a hero from my youth, it would be someone like Gene Simmons. And if Gene Simmons did that to children, then yeah, even as a rock star, I get it. Maybe he did have sex with like a 17-year-old here and there because, you're on tour. You're not really IDing people, right? But like if you were actively seeking out underage kids to abuse, then yeah, you deserve to be punished.
Absolutely. And you're dead to me.
Right. And if it did come out that he slept with a 15-year-old while on tour, well, then you deserve to be punished.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, regardless. All right, so the last person we're going to talk about in part 2 was named Mark Middleton, and he also worked in the Clinton administration. He joined in 1993 as a special assistant in the White House and rose to the role of special advisor, where he facilitated high-level meetings and access for donors and influencers. So he was basically helping people come in to work with the Clintons.
Mm-hmm.
His association with Epstein began in the 90s when he authorized at least 7 of Epstein's 17 documented White House visits between 93 and 95. Exactly. Middleton himself often signed Jeffrey Epstein into the White House personally for his meetings with Bill Clinton and other officials.
Mm-hmm.
Flight logs revealed that Middleton had traveled on Epstein's private jet at least once, which further intertwined their professional and social circles amidst the reputation that Epstein was creating.
Mm-hmm.
After leaving the White House in 95, Middleton founded Aetna Consulting, a lobbying firm that represented foreign entities, including the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Kazakhstan's interests.
Oh, great.
He was amassing wealth through international deals while maintaining ties to the Clinton World alumni.
Mm-hmm.
However, on May 7th, 2022, 59-year-old Mark Middleton was discovered deceased at the Heifer Ranch, a nonprofit cattle farm in Perryville, Arkansas, approximately 50 miles from his home in Little Rock. Middleton had no prior connections to this ranch, so he specifically went there to meet someone.
Weird.
Middleton was found hanging by an extension cord in an apparent suicide with a gunshot wound to his chest.
That's a weird suicide.
There were no signs of a struggle or any third-party involvement, quote unquote, at the scene.
How do you hang yourself and shoot yourself at the same time?
I don't know. You'd have to be hanging there and be able to somehow not be freaking out and control the gun to do it.
Yeah, that's just weird.
Arkansas State Crime Lab conducted an autopsy that allegedly confirmed the cause of death was suicide by a combination of hanging and gunshot blast. He had no
weird.
Yeah, and he had no illicit substances or alcohol in his system at the time of his death. Yep.
Weird.
I'm telling you, there's more to go. This is just the end of part 2. We still have one more part to go. And I'm saving the biggest one for last because that's just crazy. Or the last part, I should say. But yeah, there's it's too coincidental.
Yeah, it's all just so weird. And some of them it's like, yeah, okay, but there's just so many of them.
And again, we're not even done.
Yeah.
So either these people know things that even we aren't aware of and may never now be aware of, or it's just the weirdest coincidence in the history of coincidences.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them may just be that. But
yeah, yes. And of course, some will just be a coincidence. But that doesn't mean that it's many of them.
It's so fucked up. I don't even know how to begin to wrap my head around it because it's such a big conspiracy, even if only 20% of what we're talking about is true.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm going to need to go figure out how you would cause someone to get cancer, and I'm going to end up on a list, but I need to understand.
I mean, maybe those people, it's just a coincidence. And I'm hoping it is.
Be.
Because if we have the means of giving people cancer, I'm terrified.
Well, I mean, there's certainly things that you can do to really increase someone's risk. Like, there's a lot of substances that are actively cancer causing. Like,
true.
One of the substances I work with, well, I don't have to work directly with it, thank God, but some of the things we use to sterilize things, like so that they could be used in the human body, they have to be the most murderous substances in existence. And some of them work by just straight up blasting DNA, which is how you cause cancer. So,
Okay.
but I don't know how quickly that can cause cancer.
Weird. Okay. I mean, I know like radiation, exposure to certain radiations, and there's a lot of ways, but like I just suddenly imagine like X-Files kind of shit. Like they drop something in your coffee, and the next thing you know, you got fucking cancer.
Right. That would be nuts.
That's what I'm saying. That would be bad.
Yeah, it'd be really bad.
All right, but so next week we will wrap this up. Thank you everyone for joining us. Once again, I'm Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.